Hello and welcome along to another episode of The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 5, Episode 1, and you can see we've stopped off well before the football season, which can only mean one thing. We've got a job offer. It's not from England, but it is a job that we're very interested in and we're going to take, we've decided. I've had a little think about it, and obviously we've only got about 4 weeks until the Football Manager 2019 beta comes out. So in the meantime, we want to go somewhere where we can win trophies, even if it's in a low reputation league, as that's the sort of place we tend to miss out during these saves. We end up starting in lower league and working our way up a bit in England, and then once we get to that stage, we're already at a reputation level that can get us to a mid-sized league, like a sort of Denmark or Greece or something like that. So we're going to be doing something that I haven't really done before, which is quite exciting in that sense. But obviously we have had 3 years at Dover and we've had a remarkable spell where we've significantly overachieved every year. So we do need to give a little thank you to them for keeping us, despite the fact that I wanted to get out most of the time. As it stands at the moment, before I signed this new contract at another club, I was actually on a month-to-month contract, working despite being out of contract entirely. So let's go and look at our job offer without further ado. It is in Northern Ireland. It's at Coleraine, who you might not think are a big club in Northern Irish terms. Obviously, we had an interview at Larne last year and were offered the job there. They were the only professional club in the league, but they were on the verge of administration. This one's entirely different, and yes, they are a semi-pro club, but let's go and have a look at them, and look at them off the pitch more importantly. They have won 3 titles in a row in the Danske Bank Premiership in Northern Ireland. They're by far the dominant team in the country. They've got better players than we've got here in most positions, and they are surefire favourites to win the league again this year. More importantly, the big challenge with these sort of saves is one, that we've got the chance to play in the Champions League, although as I say that, they're halfway through a tie and they've lost the home leg. So more than likely we're going to be playing in the Europa League qualifiers in a week or two's time. But more importantly this year, this is the one we're looking at. They're in the Iron Brew Cup. So 2 of the top teams from the other UK nations, in terms of last year's game, which is obviously where this is based on, it was just Northern Ireland and Wales. For this year's game, obviously we've got National League teams from the conference in England, and we've also got Republic of Ireland teams as well. But it means we're going to get a chance to compete for an international competition, technically. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. So we're going to accept the job offer. As I go back to it, we're just going to try and eke out as much money as possible. It's a 2-year contract, which gives us a bit of stability as well. We're not too worried about the relegation wage drop because, let's be honest, we're not going to be getting relegated, are we? And if we do, we deserve the wage cut at this club. Right, we've bounced back a couple of times now, but let's just go for one last attempt. There we go. They've agreed to it in the end. So we're on £800 a week. We were on 925 here, but realistically, we were going nowhere. So with the squad weakening again over the summer, we had to get out. And we've got the chance to manage in the Champions League / Europa League, and in an international cup with the Iron Brew Challenge Cup from Scotland as well, which is something I'm really looking forward to. So let's get into it and let's come back and see what our Coleraine squad looks like. Okay, we're in charge of Coleraine. Let's have a look at the normal welcome messages. We won't attend the meeting just yet. I'll do that off camera and come back to you. We've got 1 player in on loan. We've got the Glenavon manager trying to make us an enemy already. I'll be sure to get him back when we beat them later in the year. And then just the usual other messages about formations and match preparation. But let's go and have a look at the squad. It's the most important bit. We'll see if we can get a selection report. We can't. That's unusual. Does that mean all of the staff from the old management have gone with them? If we go and have a look at our team, look at that. 1-0-0. That's all there is. A reserves manager and an under-18 manager, which is Alex Bruce. Is that Steve Bruce's son? It is. Alex Bruce is our under-18s manager, but other than that we've got no staff at all. So obviously, as per the head coach rules, as you will have seen right from the start of this save, we'll be putting our chairman in charge of getting us a director of football, and our director of football will then get us all of the staff and players for the summer, so we can come back and have a look at these guys properly once we've got our reports on them. So what I'll do is I'll play the second leg of that Champions League game, which is going to be a complete dead rubber because we're going to be out of it. We've already lost the home leg. We'll fall then into the Europa League qualifying. We'll come back for the first game of that, where hopefully we'll have an assistant manager and can take you through the squad with star ratings and everything. So we'll see you in a minute for that first Europa League game, and the opposition will be a surprise too. Okay, we're back. As predicted, it is the Europa League. We did go out of the Champions League, but we've now got a very winnable Europa League game against HB, who I believe are from the Faroe Islands. Let me just confirm that. Yes, they are. They're a semi-pro club. They've only got a one-star reputation, and their key player is Hedin Simonsen, who, as you can see, is not very good at all. So I'd be very upset if we didn't win this one. But we've got our first leg away from home. We'll get on to that in a minute, but first we need to go through our few signings that our Director of Football's already been busy bringing in, and we'll have a look at our squad now we've got an assistant manager with our star rating. We'll also have a quick meet with the staff as well, just so we can put all the pieces of the puzzle together and crack on with what should hopefully be a glorious season in Northern Ireland. So first, let's go and look at the staffing. We'll get that bit out of the way first. It's always the most boring bit. We're going to look at our assistant manager and our director of football. So our chairman picked this guy, Harry Fay, as our director of football. He is awful at judging player ability, but quite good at judging potential. And at 65, he's certainly not a long-term appointment. So we'll make do with him for now, and hopefully our chairman will come to his senses and give us someone better the next season. But he's done a bit of good business so far, so I won't write him off just yet. We've also got our assistant manager, Andy Matheson. He's quite a good all-rounder. He's very decent at this level. Obviously, we're only getting part-time staff, so we're not going to get the highest quality. But he's Northern Irish, he's very solid, and we're more than happy to have him here. We've also brought in a few others, including Ryan Prentice, who's the head of youth development. Again, fairly solid across the board, but younger with a bit of room to develop this time. The one big news is we lost our reserves manager. He was very well rated and actually ended up going to the Scottish Premier League, so we can't begrudge him that. But we've still got big Alex Bruce, which is all that matters, isn't it? So let's go and meet the transfers. We've got a few men in already. You can see here he's still trying to sign staff in, a scout and a head physio at the moment, so we'll leave him to keep doing that. We go to our transfer history. Obviously, we've only been here since the 12th, so we're going to ignore the 3 outs that were before then. We're also going to ignore the top 3 ins because we'll meet them when we come to meet the squad anyway. So we're just going to focus on the 4 that the Director of Football's brought in the last few days. Obviously, they haven't all been registered for the Europa League squad because we are only allowed to make 1 change after a certain date. So unfortunately, a couple of them aren't available today, but they're all going to be good additions to the squad. So first of all, we've got Stephen McStravick, I think that is, and it's a blimmin' good name, let me tell you that. He's very strangely joined us on loan from a second-tier club, but if you have a look at him, he is by no means a second-tier player. I mean, if we talk about the players we had at Dover up front, we were talking about Dave Owen not being able to finish last season, and look at this guy, 16 for finishing, he's got great composure, he's fairly quick off the ground as well, he doesn't work particularly hard, but he looks a hell of a player. He's got 3-star current ability, only 3-star, a player of that quality, which tells you all you need to know about this club, and he's got 4.5-star potential. So we've got big hopes for him, and I'm hoping that afterwards we'll be able to keep him if our Director of Football's got any common sense. If he can judge potential like this, then we have no problem with him. Secondly, we have Michael McManus. Now, this name's familiar. You'll notice he's come from Larne, and we had a look at him when we had our job offer last year because he was the key man for them. We actually were tempted to join them because of his rating. Again, not the hardest worker, but he's got everything in that similar role up front again. He can finish, he's got great composure, and he's quick off accelerating as well. He can also cover a bit on the right hand side, and he's just a very good player. He's 3.5-star current ability and 5-star potential, and if those two can get going together up front, I have huge hopes for the season. Thirdly, the last one of the ones that are good enough for the first team at the moment is a centre-half, which we desperately needed. We got him on a free after he was inexplicably released by Dungannon. I don't know if it's just because he refused to sign a contract or something. We were battling against Crewe Alexandra to get him, who are in League 2, to put into perspective how good he is. He's only 19 years old. Again, he's 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential, and he's a fantastic young player. He's left-footed, which complements all our other centre-halves at the club, and I have got such big expectations from this lad, and he'll come straight into the first 11 once we can register him for the Europa League next time out. Lastly, we've got Jarlath Gillespie, I think that is. He's only a young player with 1.5-star ability, 2.5-star potential. Not the best, might be able to play in the odd league or cup game if need be, but he's not going to be touching the first team for now. You can see he's already dropped down to the reserves. So they're the new signings so far, but we want to go and meet the rest of the squad. Now we've got star ratings attached to them, and you can see there's a few very good ones. So we have got a bit of a small squad, and it's a bit thin, but the good thing I will show you before that is that we've still got plenty of wage budget left, £1,500 a week, and £500,000 in the transfer kitty. We will transfer a bit of that over to give our Director of Football some manoeuvring room to work with. But let's meet the players we've already got here. We've got a fantastic 4-star keeper, Chris Johns, started at Southampton. I remember him being in their youth team a few years ago. He's got one Northern Ireland under-21 cap, and for me should be knocking on the door of the squad with his ratings. Only 26 years of age. He's a key player on £625 a week, so they're not doing too badly with the wage budget, and you can see they've won countless trophies here in the last few years from his milestones. But if you just look at him, he's a class keeper. He's probably about what Scott Brown and Mitch Walker were last year, maybe even slightly better mentally, so we're more than happy to have him there. The backup keeper's not very good, so we're not going to worry about him for now. We've got our hottest prospect at the club, supposedly, which is Neil McKnight. He's a sub right back at the moment. He's 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. You can see physically he's a beast. He's got so much stamina, he's strong, he's good in the air. He hasn't been playing league games for them yet, but we're going to try and rotate him in wherever possible. The only problem he has is that our captain and one of our best players is a right back as well. But we'll find a way. Next, we've got our 2 other centre-halves at the club of first choice. Shane McElhenney, 30-year-old, 3-star current ability centre-half, again Northern Irish, very solid across the board and has got decent acceleration, so we don't have to worry about his pace too much. It's going to be the perfect partner for McManus this season as it stands. We've also got Jimmy McAllister at centre-half as well. Again, 30 years old, not quite as good, but he's going to be our backup option now, and he's very good for that standard. Made nearly 200 league appearances for the very reputable Linfield at this level, so we're more than happy to have him as our backup option. He will play in Europa League today, though. We've got Luke Conlon, maybe one of our weaker areas now, our only remaining left-back. 26 years of age, has been playing for Morecambe in League 2, played for St Mirren before that after coming through at Burnley. He's got 11 under-21 caps for Northern Ireland, and again he's a very solid player across the board, particularly physically. And on the other flank, as we mentioned, our key player and our captain at the moment, Lyndon Kane, 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential, and he's just very good, particularly mentally, exactly what you want in a leader. Moving into the midfield, we've got 2 very good central midfielders and absolutely no backups for them, so hopefully they won't get injured. But we've got Kieran Harkin, he's a 3.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential, 25-year-old central midfielder, very solid across the board here. You're getting the same story again. You can see that the players at this level, they're almost sort of like League 2, League 1 standard. So we've got a very good squad here to work with. Again, coming up to 150 league appearances, and for a centre midfielder scoring 1 in 7, which is a very good rate. We're happy with that. We've also got Ralph Cottoy, the only one who's not Northern Irish, I think, with 30 caps and 3 goals for his international team. Hasn't got much stamina or passing ability, but everything else, again particularly mentally, he's very solid, and we'll sit him in that deep lying role just to mop up in midfield with his experience. 3.5-star again, and we've got no complaints about him being here. Next, we've got our wingers, an area we're in a good position with. We've got 4 at the club, 3 of them are very good and will be competing as well. Firstly, our right winger Stephen Dooley, our best player at the club, 4.5-star current ability, the same potential. He's at his peak at 29 now. He's a natural on the right wing and a natural on the left wing, but we're going to play him on the right because he's right-footed, and also our left winger's very, very talented too. But you can see he's good at everything, and it's just a step up in every area from what we had last year at Dover. Again, coming up to 150 appearances from the club as well. And on the other flank, we've got Aaron Burns, again 4.5-star current ability and the same potential, 29 at his peak again, and fantastic across the board, as well as a set-piece specialist on everything apart from corners, ironically. Can take a good free kick, long throws he's very good at, and penalty taking, but hasn't got it from the corners, which is a bit strange, but he's very good and he'll be playing for his first choice too. Again, been here for a few years after playing most of his career at Linfield. And I do vaguely remember his name at Everton now I see it at the bottom. I'm sure he was about there, and I'm sure he was a pretty good prospect at the time too. But we won't worry about that for now. The other backup winger is Ross Clark. He can play naturally on both flanks. You can see he's more of the sort of standard of a Shiloh Tracy or someone that we had in the National League with Dover. And for him to be a backup player is a really good stat for us this season. It's going to be completely solid to come on either flank during games, and we're more than happy for him to be on the bench for us. We've also got Darren McCauley, who at the moment is our backup central midfielder as well. You can see he's only 2.5-star ability, but again, he's on a par with anything we had at Dover. So again, no complaints. We're more than happy with him too. And then it's just the strikers. Obviously, we've met McManus. We've also met Oloney from the second tier. We've got 3 others who aren't very good. I'll just introduce you to Danny Burke for now, as he's the other starter at the moment. Only because he can play in that sort of target man role, and he's young with a lot of potential. But we're going to be getting him some tutoring to work on this unambitious personality. So now we've met the boys, let's get into our game. We're in the Europa League today, away in the Faroe Islands. So let's see if we can get a win under our belts in a game that you can see we're clear favourites for. We want to be ahead going into the home leg so we can do a bit of experimenting if need be. So let's have a look at the team we've got today. Based on the players you've met, it will be fairly familiar. Obviously, we still haven't got a young lone striker available to register or our centre-half McManus. So it means we go with Johns in goal, who's not going to be a sweeper keeper. I forgot to change that. There you go, me ever prepared as always. We've got Lyndon Kane and Luke Conlon as the fullbacks, with Gallagher in the middle alongside McKellany. We've also got Dooley and Burns on the wings in midfield, our two key men, with Cottoy and Harkin in the middle, and McManus and Danny Burke up front, and the rest of the available players from the first team are all on the bench. We're just going with a standard mentality for today. We're away from home in Europe, and although we're favourites, we don't want to get too carried away just yet. We've got to assign some squad numbers because these were the two that weren't available for the Champions League game, which we did unfortunately lose 3-2, but we put up a really good fight in a game that we were huge underdogs for. And hopefully once I get a full tie next year, we might be able to do something about it. But they're playing a 4-3-3, so it's all the more reason to be disciplined. We just want to get a result in this game, get into the home leg with a confident position where we know we can win the game. The Faroe Islands is packed out for this one. I don't know whose ground this is, but this is a fantastic arena and plenty of people in there. So we're playing in front of a big audience, which is a nice start. And these are the nights we've come for Europa League and Champions League nights. To be able to play in Europe coming from the National League, you can see why it's appealing to people from these countries. It's such a lovely step for the first few weeks of the season. And if we can get to the next round and get a big boy, that would be great. But as the seeded team in this draw, we were expected to win. But we're under a bit of early pressure as Kane clears away. They've got the crossing again, which is cleared, and they get the first blood from the shot in the game, which goes straight at Chris Johns. But a worrying warning sign early on. We've lost out in the air, but it's down to Aaron Burns. We're going to have to learn the names all over again, so excuse me if I get tongue-tied on a few of them to start with. Harkin's got the ball 30 yards out to have a shot, but it's poor and it's high and it's wide. And it's a goal kick to HB. 5 minutes in, a shot apiece. We've had two apparently, but it's not been the best of starts to be honest. And we've had the only shot on target against us. Cottoy's got the ball in the holding role for Harkin. Harkin's bringing it forward now to Burke. Burke, who's not going to be in the team for much longer once our loan signing can be registered for the Europa League. But Cottoy to Harkin. McManus with the shot. And you can see why he was the key man for Larne. And you can see why our director of football went straight for him this time. What a finish that was for 25 yards. And if only we had someone like that at Dover last year. But we're 1-0 up and we're well on our way to the third qualifying round of the Europa League already. Burns with a cross in there that's headed away to Harkin on the edge of the box. And unfortunately he's put it over. But we're starting to assert our dominance now. And we've got an authoritative lead in this game. And we're keeping the ball nicely. There's a throw-in for HB. They've got the ball down the left-hand side. If we can just keep our disciplined shape and our two banks of four, we should be fine. It's headed away, but they've got the overlap on this time. Cottoy's gone to close him down, but not made it. And they've got a bit of space on the edge here to get the shot away. They found a lovely ball out to the right, and the shot saved well by Chris Johns behind for a corner. We're under a little bit of pressure again now, but hopefully we can defend it solidly and keep our lead in the Europa League away leg. They've got it on the edge of the box, a lovely touch, but Magnussen's put it a long way wide, and we managed to stay comfortable again there. Despite the fact that HB have had more of the shots, they haven't really looked threatening at all, to be honest. 3 shots on target, but 2 of them were straight at the keeper. And they're bringing it forward again now as we try to keep our shape again. We've got the ball in the middle, hold up. We've got the 2 banks of 4 sitting nicely there as they come forward again. And they've had a shot from the edge again, and thankfully it's gone high and wide. They're just shooting from distance now, which we're more than happy to deal with. Their right backs come off injured and they're going to be down to substitutes, and based on their key players rating, surely they'll only get worse from there. It does happen occasionally in Europe where their key players who are actually real players, like the one we looked at before, they're rated really poorly, but then they're greyed out players who come in just for these games, because obviously we haven't got the Faroe League loaded. They're the sort of players who are rated much better despite not being recognised before. But we're coming forward again now with Cottoy. It was a lovely hold-up play from Burke. Harkin finds McManus again, out wide to Dooley. Can he deliver well? He can't, it's blocked. But Kane mops up and brings it to Cottoy, out to Burns, who we know's got a good delivery out there. Finds Burke in the middle, and what a fantastic header into the top corner. Our 2 wide men are delivering from wide areas, and our strikers are finishing brilliantly in this game. We've got a 2-0 lead now, and if we can keep that for the second leg, we'll be absolutely delighted. But can we get more as we come down on the right? Kane with the crossing, deflects off his own man, but Burke has a shot cleared away. We look very dangerous on the counter-attack now, and I'm more than happy at the way we're playing going into half-time. Here HB come forward again though. Gallagher's mopped up well, brings it forward to Kotoy. Considering we're not able to register two of our best players yet, this has been a fantastic performance. Kane's got the ball on the right to Dooley. Dooley's got a long ball up to Burke, knocks it down for McManus into the box, and that's a fantastic save by the keeper. But we're about to be into the break and it's 2-0 to Coleraine, and we couldn't have asked for much more really. There we go then, plenty of praise for that first half performance. If they're looking like they're going to get complacent, we'll make a couple of changes. As our director of football gets working over the summer, I'm sure our squad will get stronger. What I have applied for to the board already in our first week here, and the reason I like the more than Dover already, I applied for professional status because we've got the Champions League money in. We've got about 2 million in the bank, so I asked them, is there any way we can upgrade? And straight away they said, yes, we'll do it at the end of the season. So if we're still here next year, we'll be a professional club. And if not, we'll have one last club that we get to have a go with, hopefully a bit further up the pyramid. I guess it will largely depend on this qualifying campaign and how we do in the Iron Brew Cup, because they're the two reputable competitions. Obviously winning the league is just expected of us, so our reputation probably won't increase too much. And the smaller domestic cup, in Northern Ireland won't really increase our reputation at all. We've scored again, but I've just seen the flag was up already. Dooley with a lovely pass into Burke, but unfortunately he was offside. We'll make some changes when there's about 20 minutes to go. As I said, hopefully we can have a really good season here, and maybe we'll get that one more chance to have a big move. If not, we'll be happy to stay here for the last 2 or 3 years of this save, as that's all we'll probably have time for until FM19. Let's get Ross Clark on the right wing. We said he was a good player and we'd be happy to bring him on. We'll give Macaulay a go for Kotoy because he's got poor stamina and we don't want him getting tired with another game in next week against these lot again. We're going to give Neil McKnight a run out. I know we don't want to take our captain off ideally, but it's a perfect chance to give a young player experience because we're not under any threat at all in an attacking sense. So bringing on a young right back and giving him the chance to maraud forward and get an assist or a bit of excitement, particularly in Europe, in the Europa League. Not many 19-year-olds are playing in Europa League, so we're more than happy with that. The ball's come into the box, it's cleared away, but Clark finds Gallagher. Lovely skill from the centre half, and McManus was just offside, but put it wide anyway. We look the only team threatening in the second half. We've been absolutely fantastic. I won't even need to show you the second leg now because you know we're going to be through, and we'll come back for the third qualifying round where we're hopefully playing a bigger team. And if there aren't too many signings before then, we'll talk about a double header as well and maybe show you both legs. Again, it'll probably depend on the first leg result, but I'm so pleased with how my first game in Europa League's gone, as they've left McManus free one-on-one. Unfortunately, he just hasn't got the pace over the long term. That's where we need Oloni from the second division. I'm deliberately avoiding pronouncing his name. If you're wondering why I keep saying Oloni, that's why. I can't remember his name and I don't want to have to pronounce it. We'll find a short name for him and just call him that. Whatever his first name was, we'll go for. I think it was Stan or something like that, so we'll call him that. We did the same with Xavier last year at Dover and that was fine. HB are bringing it forward and it would put a bit of a taint on the result if they got a goal, but it's a fantastic block by Gallagher and it's out for a corner. We've just got to defend it well. We've been really strong and disciplined at the back. Johns makes a save and just as I say it, they've tapped one in. They're 2-1 down now, but it's the home leg for them and they needed a goal. They went all out attack to get it and 2-1's more than we could have asked for. I would have been happy with a draw to start with, so as long as we can hold on for this win, we're happy. But we've got another chance going forward now with Macaulay. Conlon gets the crossing, which is headed away. Harkin's bringing it forward, and we're straight back in the attacking and the ascendancy now. Clark with the ball to substitute, switches to Burns. Burns has got an overlap if he can find it, but he's given it away. But thankfully they're just as bad. Now Burns can go down the left. Finds Conlon, he's got two in the middle. Finds McManus, but he's headed away. And Harkin's shot on the rebounds, blocked out for a throw-in. We've played really well and there's a lot to be proud of. The one area we have been a bit weak is at centre-half, and the worst rated player on the pitch for us, Gallagher, won't be playing in the third qualifying round because we'll have had McManus registered in there by then. Harkin's got the ball again and has lost it. That's a bit worrying. He's one of our better players. But hopefully we can get a bit of backup to give him competition, because at the moment there's no incentive for them to play well because they're always going to stay in the team. But McKellen's got it as centre-back with a big long hoof away, and Harkin can hopefully win it back, but doesn't this time. Macaulay has to win it back in the middle. It's been quite good since he came on, but they're starting to get the ascendancy in the middle. They've got it wide to the left-hand side. We need to block that cross. We haven't. Conlon heads away, and they've got it back in the box, but McKnight, the youngster, clears. And now they've got it in the middle, and it's 2-2. Oh, it's all going wrong towards the end. We're playing as a disciplined team. I don't know how this is happening, and I'm going to regret bringing the young lad on at right back, as that's where both of their goals have come from. But 2-2 still a decent result. I said before I take a draw, as Burns nearly scores in stoppage time. We'll still win the home leg comfortably, so don't worry, he'll be back with us for the third qualifying round. I'm completely confident about that. but we have been a little bit disturbing at the back in the last 10 minutes here. And maybe the Europa League's not the best scene to bring the young kids into, especially not when it's your main source of financial income for the year. We're not a Chelsea or an Arsenal just giving our players a run out. We actually need to get through a few rounds here. Harkin's got it with a minute of stoppage time left. Can we take the lead again? He has a good shot at the keeper, but it's saved well in the bottom corner. And he's getting a bit of slating in the commentary for wasting opportunities, as HB have a last chance to come forward and take a remarkable lead in the home leg. But thankfully we should mop up there quite comfortably. And McKnight with a simple ball to Coleraine, who clears long, but it's not long enough. And they're bringing it forward again. Gallagher heads away. Macaulay to Harkin, and we've brought it down and it will be cleared. But a decent first performance. The last 20 minutes put a bit of a taint on the result. It is 2-2, but we've got to be proud of how we've played. We were absolutely dominant for the first 70 minutes. Maybe my fault for the substitutions, but we'll win the home leg comfortably, and you'll have an exciting third qualifying round to come back for next time out. Just 5 seconds or so to see out now. Nothing really happening. The ball's in possession in the middle of the pitch. McManus has got one last chance to bring it forward, with Harkin up to Burke, and that's going to be it, surely now. Blow the whistle, ref. There it is. It's 2-2. It's a disappointing result in the end, but the performance was good, and we're more than happy with that going into the second leg. We'll see what they've said about the game quickly, and just check there weren't any more signings being made. McManus scored on his debut, which is good. Burke played well up alongside him, but we've got our other striker to come in for the third qualifying round. We'll do the press conference off camera in a minute. But that will be all for this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my new club. Do you think it's the right move or not? Are you looking forward to seeing us playing in Europe, competing in the Iron Brew Cup, or just competing for honours at the top of the league and in cup competitions again? Let me know your thoughts on the Director of Football signing so far. Subscribe to the channel for regular Football Manager content from this head coach save every Monday to Thursday at 4:30 PM. We'll be back on Monday with episode 2 from Coleraine. Thank you for watching as always, and we'll see you next time.